No flag, no call sign, no response. Just a $13 million question drifting silently across the Caribbean. Who owns this ghost ship, and what's hidden inside? The USS Gravely moved in, fully armed and ready for anything, because these vessels rarely come empty. When the boarding team cut through the cabin doors, what they uncovered was not just a cartel payday. It was evidence that could dismantle networks far beyond the horizon. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. A vessel drifting with no flag and no radio signal sends warning bells across naval channels, because silence at sea is rarely innocent. In a busy ocean, most ships broadcast their identity, course, and purpose. When a boat does the opposite, it doesn't just vanish from the system. It marks itself out as suspicious. The ocean is too vast for random encounters to be taken lightly, and every watch officer knows a ship that hides its identity has something to protect or something to hide. That's why when radar showed a slow-moving vessel in international waters, stripped of markings and ignoring calls, the USS Gravely treated it as a threat long before a single weapon was drawn. These types of unmarked craft are often called ghost ships. They are deliberately altered to erase who owns them, where they came from, or where they're headed. Hull numbers are painted over, flags are taken down, and satellite trackers are removed. Some even carry false registries that can be thrown overboard at a moment's notice. To anyone patrolling the sea, these ghost ships are not mysteries for long. They are red flags, flagged with silence. What makes them so dangerous is not just what they carry, but also what they could be. They're unpredictable in ways that force a warship to prepare for anything from armed resistance to deadly smuggling. To the untrained eye, a calm morning with a boat bobbing gently in the water looks harmless. But sailors on the Gravely's bridge plot every movement with suspicion. A still boat could hold hidden crew waiting for an ambush. Its cargo deck could be wired with explosives, designed to detonate when approached. Below the floorboards, there could be compartments stacked with tons of cocaine or methamphetamine hidden inside. Each possibility carries its own risk. The placid silence of the vessel disguises the reality that the stakes climb higher with every passing minute. This is the risk curve facing crews in moments like this. The Gravely's officers had to assume the worst, even when the deck looked empty. Because history has shown the greatest caches of contraband don't announce themselves with gunfire. They sit concealed behind bulkheads, wrapped against salt and water, daring the Navy to get close enough to check. Large-scale seizures look deceptively routine at first. It's not the chaos of bullets, it's the unnerving emptiness, the unsettling thought that the most dangerous part is exactly what you don't see. Think of it like arriving at a border crossing and finding a car with no license plates idling, engine running, driver nowhere in sight. You don't expect a commute, you expect trouble. That's how a ghost ship looks to naval patrols. Trouble waiting to reveal itself. Which is why the Navy follows strict VBSS procedures, short for visit, board, search, and seize. These guidelines dictate every move, how close the destroyer positions itself, how fast the rigid hull boats deploy, how the sailors raise weapons but keep them tight against their shoulders until fired upon. There is no room here for improvisation. A single mistake could cost lives. When the order to board came down, the Gravely's small boats hit the water in seconds. The teams fanned out, weapons up, eyes fixed on the vessel's hatches. The tension wasn't drama for them, it was survival. No one knew whether they'd find contraband, hostages, or a fight. All they knew was to move steady, follow protocol, and stick to training. The silence hung heavy until boots touched the deck. That is when the so-called emptiness gave way to the true face of the operation. Beneath the abandoned appearance of that ghost ship lay bales of cocaine worth $13.65 million, wrapped, pressed, and hidden in tightly packed compartments, waiting to be moved across borders. What appeared to be a lifeless hull floating on open waters was in fact the perfect camouflage. And once the threat was uncovered, the challenge only shifted because securing the evidence without sparking violence would be every bit as difficult as spotting the ship in the first place. When the boarding team steps on deck, What they find or don't find can decide the entire outcome. Suspicion is not enough. Evidence is what turns a maritime intercept into a criminal case. And that is why the Navy follows a system known as VBSS: Visit, Board, Search, and Seize. It is the backbone of their work. The destroyer's crew may spot a ghost ship on radar, but until a boarding detail picks through every compartment with method and patience, nothing can be proven. Each sailor knows they are not just searching for hidden cargo. They are also building a case that prosecutors will one day argue in court. Every step must be as precise as any courtroom rule. The process starts slowly. The first sweep is about safety, checking for threats, hidden passengers, or anything booby-trapped. A cabinet door could conceal more than documents. A sealed hatch could be rigged with wires designed to trigger an explosion when forced. Even a small slip of the hand could change the deck from a search into disaster. Once the vessel is secure, the harder work begins. Sailors work through each space in pairs, one watching the corners, the other digging into compartments that smugglers often alter with secret bulkheads, welded panels, or concealed storage units buried beneath floorboards. That is when the gravest suspicions start to take shape. On this particular vessel, the team uncovered tarps stretched tight across stacks of objects. The bundles underneath were dense, heavy for their size, and wrapped in multiple layers to survive saltwater. Triple-wrapped plastic, burlap sheaths, and waxed linings sealed each block. When cut open, every brick showed the same careful preparation. The packaging itself told a story, one of logistics and intent. These were not random goods tossed in haste. They were processed, marked, and organized in a way familiar to narcotics investigators. Cartel organizations frequently stamped their shipments with signatures of their own. Different colors, letters, or symbols, such as a painted S in green ink, identify ownership or origin. To them, a shipment this size is both a product and a message. Branding ensures the right network claims responsibility, and it signals quality assurance within the trade. For the boarding team, these markings do something more important. They tie the seizure back to established syndicates, providing proof that what looks like a few dozen bricks on a ship is part of something much larger. That kind of link matters when prosecutors later argue that syndicates, not random fishermen, orchestrated the run. Documenting the discovery is as critical as the discovery itself. Sailors pull out cameras and take dozens of photographs before a single bundle is lifted. Each bale is numbered, bagged, weighed, and logged with dates and times. Gloves and evidence bags are required not simply for safety, but to ensure no later claim of tampering can stand. The chain of custody that begins on that rocking deck must survive months, sometimes years, of legal scrutiny. Defense attorneys are quick to search for cracks. If just one bale lacks a tag, or one entry in the logbook is left blank, the entire operation could be challenged in court. With millions of dollars worth of narcotics involved, cartels can afford sharp lawyers who seize on technical errors as eagerly as prosecutors seize on evidence. One ghost ship, 19 bales, and over $13 million erased in hours. This wasn't just about interception. It was a calculated strike aimed directly at the lifeline of a cartel network. Every sealed block represented more than narcotics on its way north. It meant weapons not bought, bribes not paid, and routes forced to close under pressure. Seizures like this prove the fight is not a series of accidents, but sustained precision. Every operation echoes far beyond the sea where it happens. Each bale removed denies traffickers reach and reminds them nothing, no matter how silent, escapes attention.